Alright, so we went to go see Captain Marvel today. Paul and I went to go see it. We didn't do IMAX like we normally do. We saw it in Jersey in like a regular theater, but we saw it in like the Dolby Theater, so it's got like the nice seats. You can like lounge and all that shit. It's got the good sound where it rumbles so much, your seat rumbles like it's a really, like really hefty fart. Yeah, I'll go into spoilers a little later, but yeah, Captain Marvel. It is a comic book movie. It is a Marvel movie. So yeah, I enjoyed it, It was fun because it's a comic book movie. There was a lot of Easter eggs for, the real fans out there. And then there was a lot of other things that, that if you didn't know about Captain Marvel, it explained, a good amount, and it kind of like made you, like understand like where she comes from and all that stuff. And it's like, in all honesty, it's overall enjoyable. Of course, go see it. It is a Marvel movie. It is a Marvel solo character that's female. If that's a huge thing for you, go fucking see it. Again, I enjoyed it. Paul and I had a great time watching it. Like, it was fun. And because this movie takes place, like, in the 90s, so there was a lot of, like, callbacks to stuff in the 90s. And so we're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But yeah, all the references in the 90s are great, and some of it we were just like, oh man, remember how that was, like, top-notch, like, technology back then? And we were like, we're living in the future. And then now we're just like, oh my god, And it was just a lot of, like, a lot of, like, dead stores and things happening. Just, oh, man. Very nostalgic of a movie. The soundtrack, all the whole 90s shit. Oh, yeah. So a lot of youngins out there will be watching and be like, oh, this is from the 90s. Oh, no, I can't sound like old people. Oh, this is from the 90s. Just because we just had dinner at a diner full of old people. You go to a diner and they hand you a menu, and one side says the Saturday specials, the other side says the senior menu. You realize you kind of probably should have had dinner somewhere else. Anyway. But yeah, the young kids out there are probably like, the 90s are back, woo! But then they probably, like, okay, music aside and, like, fashion and all that shit, the kids probably, like, look at the technology and was like, what's Alta Vista? They're like, oh my god, the websites are so poorly designed, like, I need Squarespace. Oh my god. But like I said, enjoyable, like, comic book movie, of course, and, just like all the other movies, where things kind of interconnect and stuff, especially this movie, where it happens, like, in the past, so they're kind of like, this is why Nick Fury's eye got messed up, and this is why this happened, and, like, the interconnecting things, and anyway, we all know Captain Marvel's gonna defeat Thanos, so we can't wait for that shit to happen. But yeah, I'm gonna go into spoilers, and 1, 2, 3, spoilers! So, spoilers. Fury's eye fucked up from the Flerken, which I was just like, sure, why not? We're this many years, invested into the universe, like, I don't care. You can tell me that, like, some angry bitch scratched him in the face. You can say that he, like, accidentally hit himself in the face with a fucking, like, flat iron thing. Whatever, I'll take it. Who cares? Marvel, have my money, Then the whole Flerken thing I really love because it's like a critical part of, like, some of the comics and all that. The critical part, like the Kelly Sue comic part, where it's like, yeah, it's a cat, and Rocket Raccoon is like, no, it's a Flerken, it's a blah blah blah. They're like, but it's a cat, but then it's suddenly it's like, all that stuff, and you're like, oh shit, it really is a fucking, like, alien being. I thought this cat the whole time was a fucking cat. And I love it because, like, Paul didn't know about it. Definitely a lot of people in the audience didn't know about it. So when that, like, happened, Paul was like, what the fuck? And everyone else in the audience is like, huh? And I'm there like, ha ha, right, Flerken, I like that they had, like, Cap's friend and friend's daughter, as black characters this time, instead of just being, yet again, like, bunch of white blondes that they had in, like, the comic and shit. Speaking of comic, Kelly Sue DeConnick actually like makes like a cameo, and it was such a quick cameo that like I almost didn't even look at that part of the screen. I was just kind of like, oh, and in my eye something just said look to your right, and I looked. I was just like, like actually like gasped and went, oh my god! I just like grabbed Paul's arm. He's like, what? And I was like, the writer of the comic, the writer of the comic is I'm like that. He's like, what? And I was like, redhead, short redhead glasses. I was like, oh my god, like, you know. And I bet like the dudes next to me were like, well, it seems like someone's really excited for this movie, you know. And of course I carried around my Captain America bag because, you know, I'm going to a Marvel movie, I have to do that. We found it kind of odd that they were like, okay, let's make the Skrull good people, the Kree actually bad people. And I'm like, we were kind of agreeing that, like, yeah, you know, I guess, like, you know, the whole, like, what you thought you knew isn't real, you know, like, it's not true or whatever. Or, like, you get it, like, comic fans, and with how the trailer was cut, you're obviously to believe. Because Skrull is bad. Skrulls are bad. Skrulls are bad. Because, of course, via the comic, they are bad. But then, like, haha, change it. In the movie, they're like, no, Kree are actually the asshole. And the Skrull are just trying to live their life. And, yeah, they're kind of shape-shifty and stuff, but they use it to, like, survive. And so you're kind of like, okay, something I thought I knew all the time about these comic thingies is different. Again, Paul and I, as logical people, are like, fine, if that's the direction you're going, fine. But we know there are going to be people who are going to be like, no, it's not canon. It's not canon. Flip the table. What's the thing? Like, that ship is not canon. No. They get angry and there's like posts all over Tumblr about that. Anyway, so yeah, we were like, fine, you know, do that, switch it around, who cares? Which we even knew, we're like, Jude Law's the bad guy, because we're like, look at them eyes, you can't trust him, and it's Jude Law. Like, you know, like, it's like in Marvel movies, you know, when it's the Oscar award-winning actor or actress, they are the bad person, you know, or the older, well-known actor or actress is the bad person. Or, again, any well-known actor or actress, you're like, you're the bad person, you know? Like, Jude Law, you're bad. Annette Bening, you're good, but bad in like, the... I don't want to say hologram, but, you know, the thought bubble thingy. You know, like, Robert Redford, you're a bad guy. You know, it's like, oh, no. Oh, shit. And I'm really excited to see, like, what's going to happen with Endgame. Just because I'm like, she's going to kick his ass. Oh, speaking of purple, guys, you get to see Ronan. Lee Pace is back. He doesn't have all, like, that kind of shit on him because it's, you know, a little bit, like, what did Paul say? A few years before he was too corrupted or whatever. So, you know, again, it was good to see a lot of people come back. Oh my god, Stan Lee! Oh, Grandpa! They started the movie off, you know, normally it's like the Marvel people, but it's all Stan Lee. And I'm like, oh god, I thought I was gonna cry during the movie, but I'm crying before! Oh yeah, you know. And then it's just like, thank you, Stan. And like some girl next to me went, oh! And I was like, don't do that, you're making me emote! Fuck! You know, and then I saw, like, Kevin Smith was crying because he was like, I spent my whole life referencing movies, and now the movies have referenced me. And I was like, okay. And I thought because Cap falls into the Blockbuster, I thought she was gonna, like, grab, like, a VHS of Clerks or something and just go, huh, okay, you know. But it was like, no, like, fucking Stan Lee is holding, like, a script for Mallrats. And it was just like, oh, you know. So yeah, with the mid-credit sequence where, you know, like, her pager was, like, going off and all that stuff, and they're like, well, it like, literally, like, went off and turned off, and they're like, well, what are we gonna do? And Captain America is like, well, like, do it again, blah, blah, blah. And so when Black Widow was like, okay, well, let's go, and then, like, the camera, like, starts getting, like, closer on her face, and as she turns, Cap Marvel is there, and she's just, like, you know, hair slightly, like, because before her hair is here, but hair is, like, down here, and she's like, where's Fury? And it's like, yay! You know? Oh my god, so happy. But, let me just talk about trailers. I forgot to write them down. There was the Ugly Doll movie, okay, Frozen 2, Dumbo, and what the fuck else? Oh, Hobbs and Shaw. I think Was there anything else? I think those were the 4 or 5. I don't think there's really anything else because most of it we were like, no, Spider-Man. Spider-Man Far From Home. There was a trailer for that one as well.